Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt, and on today's episode, we are talking, yes, Stranger Things 2, finally able to record and get this video out there. Now, just to keep you guys in the loop, I love Stranger Things, the first season. I love it so much. And you know, I don't even consider it nostalgic love because, first of all, I was born in 92. I don't care about the 80s at all. Like, I don't think the fashion was good. I don't think the music was particularly great. So I don't consider this a nostalgic love. I think it's just great TV. And quite honestly, I'm a little sick of people saying that we only like Stranger Things because it's nostalgic. No. Yeah, you kind of get a little bit of the view of back then where you got to wear different clothes and it feels different, and kids got to go riding around on their bicycles by themselves. But there's so much more to like about, just hit my mic, so much more to like about Stranger Things than just being nostalgic. And the thing about this series is it just came out of nowhere. It was released in July, actually, caught on, very beginning of August. All of a sudden, it has captured the zeitgeist of the pop culture phenomenon, and it just became its own thing. And it was so super hyped for Stranger Things 2 that how could you possibly live up to all of that hype? And the thing is, it does. I prefer season 2 to season 1 by a freaking landslide. Stranger Things 2 advanced storylines, it gave us more character development, it brought in more characters for us to develop in later seasons and people that you kind of feel attached to now. It gave us heartbreaking deaths, it gave us justice for Barb, and it gave us better CGI and effects, like a million times better, because that's one thing about Stranger Things 1 is that sometimes the effects felt a little too fake, whereas this one, I mean, they obviously were given a lot more money to do that. So it looks a lot better, but it has the same feel. The thing that Stranger Things has going for itself is their characters. Every single one of their characters is developed enough, and also, you just care about all of them. There's really not a weak character in the bunch. I mean, you might have a least favorite, but you still are drawn to them because they feel real. They all matter to the storyline. And this, basically what this whole season did was just pair up a whole bunch of people you didn't really think were going to ever really pair up necessarily, and it works. You get to see these different types of people interact and bond, and once again, all of the storylines matter. Okay, now we're gonna get into more spoiler area, so if you've not seen Stranger Things 2, what are you doing? Okay, so once again, this whole season really revolves around Will Byers, who disappeared in the first season, and now he's kind of dealing with these sort of intense, visions of the Upside Down, I guess is what you would say. Like at the very end of last season, he puked up that slug type thing, which went into the drain, and now he goes into these trances where he's seeing the Upside Down in real time. Everyone's saying that he's, just dreaming these. They're all fake. That's sort of a PTSD effect, which makes sense. I mean, you're not going to think that this kid is basically, his mind is being transported into a different dimension. You would think it's PTSD, especially around the year mark of when he was first taken. It does get worse. And what is kind of nice is in the 80s, this is kind of when they're still developing a lot of the studies on PTSD. I mean, we're still doing it now, but it was really coming to light more around that time. And so it was just very, difficult to really suss out the situation with Will Byers. And, he's back to Hawkins' lab, and they're kind of, doing tests on him and trying to help him out. And you have this new doctor who's kind of in charge with the rest of the people at Hawkins' lab, who at first you're just not quite sure of. You think, oh, this is going to be just another Dr. Brennan or whatever his name was, Papa. But this doctor actually turns into a good guy at the end of it, and I really like him. And this season does a great job of showing off the actor of Will Byers, Noah Schnapp, his acting ability. Wow. And I felt so, heartbroken for this kid who just wants to be normal, and it's just I just want the Byers to be happy. I really do. I hope season 3, gives him a tiny bit of a break. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I do hope it happens. That's all we got in life is hope. And continuing with the Byers, we've got Mama Byers, played by the great Winona Ryder. just really in her element in Stranger Things. She has now got a new boyfriend in Sean Astin's Bob. And you know what? Wasn't sure about Bob at the beginning. I was like, he's nerdy, he's kind of cute. Apparently some people thought that he had bad intentions and like was going to turn out evil. Never got that from him. I just kind of thought, he's just a nerd guy. And you could totally see he was going to die. And to be quite honest, that was his own damn fault. Because he escaped that whole baby Demogorgon, the Demodog, and then he stops and he's like, I made it. No, you don't make it until you're out of Hawkins' lab, you dumb idiot. Like, the moment he stopped, I was like, he's dead. He is so dead. He's going to be ravaged by the Demodogs right about now. And then he is. And it's really sad. And you know what? Justice for Bob. Yeah, we're doing it again. But it was really nice to kind of see Joy Byers be happy, because you don't see that very much in season 1. And Stranger Things 2, you kind of get that sort of nerdy side of her, and you do get some development with her and Hopper more too, like their past and stuff, because I think they kind of dated before, and I think eventually will lead into them falling in love, which I'm here for. I'm so here for it. You have no clue. And to the other Byers' son, we've got Jonathan, who is still pining after poor Nancy, who is stuck with Steve, which I'll take Steve any day. So really, I don't think it's a consolation prize at all. Anyway, you kind of see them teaming up more, and really this whole season is really about their whole plot in the season, there's 2 points to it, of course. The main one is to really just kind of get them together as a couple, which happens. Yeah, so, they kind of go on a little road trip to try to expose Hawkins' lab, which a lot of people are saying is completely useless because at the end of season 1, Hawkins' lab turned into something different. No, I mean, that's very obvious in that one scene where all of the people around the new sort of scientist guy who's helping out the Byers, they're just like, who cares about this kid? We need to kill him so we can kill whatever's inside of him or whatever. Like, they don't care about these people. And don't tell me that if they knew 11 was alive, that she would not be stuck in that facility and never allowed to go out. These are bad people still in this lab, and I can guarantee you they were still doing things that they should not have been doing. So Nancy and Jonathan actually going to try to expose Hawkins Labs was very important to the story, and I think it's going to be more important to season 3 going into it. And also, I think it's leading into Nancy becoming a sort of investigative journalist. I think that's kind of the route that she's going to go. But that brings us to Nancy and her amazing sort of breakup with Steve at the party where she's drunk, and she's just basically calling everything bullcrap. And I'm not going to cuss in case this gets demonetized for some stupid reason. Anyway, there's that great scene in the bathroom with her and Steve just like leaves her at the party. Of course, he's like, Jonathan, go give her a ride home, please, because she's trashed. And this party, oh God, it looked miserable, to be honest. Like, that seems like the party of my nightmares. And while I think that Nancy and Steve work as a couple, I do think that neither of them completely gel together. And I think that they're both great characters on their own. And I'd like to see Steve kind of branch out and become someone non-dependent on Nancy, which is fun to say because usually that's what you're saying about a female character. I'm saying that about a male character. I want him to kind of develop into something where he can stand on his own, whereas his whole story arc doesn't revolve around Nancy like it does in the first season and then pretty much the beginning of this season, which is something that the directors, the Duffer Brothers, not directors, but the writers of this show, we're very keen on actually getting him more involved, which is kind of how he gets paired up with Dustin, because Dustin didn't have much to do with the group because he was dealing with Dart, the baby Demogorgon. That's hard to say. Demogorgon is kind of hard to say. Anyway, they get paired up, which is the most genius pairing of all time. And then with the kids, what you kind of get is you get Mike being really mopey about 11, which a lot of people are really annoyed about. I wasn't that annoyed about. I didn't think it was really that much because once he started getting more involved with Will, he kind of had a sense of purpose again, and he was really I thought he was very helpful with that, considering he's the one who figured out the whole spy thing, which was really smart, and he was the smart one trying to get the hell out of the lab. Because he figured out that the shadow monster was basically playing all of them by using Will. You have Dustin and Lucas kind of fighting over this new girl, Max, who, I liked Max quite a bit. I really want to see where they go with her character. She is sort of that quintessential boys girl that was very popular in that sort of day and age of movies. And they're kind of fighting over her in a way. You know, Dustin kind of has his own crap to deal with. And Lucas actually shows a really nice sort of sensitive side to himself that involves, actually telling her what the hell's going on. Even though she doesn't believe it, and there's that great moment of her kind of critiquing his story, just like how Stranger Things 1 was critiqued in a way, which was really meta, and I really actually enjoyed that. I thought that was very funny. And then you've got Eleven and Hopper, who spent a lot of time together, and then they kind of go off on their own journeys towards the end of it. Eleven's kind of like a substitute daughter for him, and I thought it was really sweet. I loved their dynamic together. Eleven needed to go on these adventures to kind of find herself and figure out her mom and where she belongs in a way, because she goes and she finds her sister, Callie, who has powers. And now we're wondering, like, is Callie the only one that survived out of the test subjects besides 11? I have a hard time believing that. I think there's at least a couple more, because if they all develop different types of powers like this, they're incredibly powerful, which means they probably escaped. And while I don't necessarily like the placement of the episode, I don't hate the episode. I think it comes so late in the season. It's a 9-episode season. It's episode 7. And so episode 6 and episode 8 are very connected. They're back to back. And so you get like a really action-packed episode 6, getting really into it, and then it just kind of derails, and we go to Chicago, and 11 has a standalone episode where she learns more how to use her powers and where she belongs in the world. It just slowed down the momentum of this whole season, and luckily it was a bit of a shorter episode. I know you need the episode to get to the end of this series, but it was a little frustrating. I wish if it hadn't been a standalone episode, it was kind of mixed in with maybe 5 and 6 would have been really nice. I do like her entrance at the end of 8, though, and then all of episode 9. I think she was incredibly powerful, and I loved seeing her and Mike kind of reunite, and that moment that Mike sees her alive for the first time was just, like, so cute. And then you have Hopper, who is probably top 3 of my favorite characters in this season, who was not one of my favorite characters in season 1. I know that a lot of people love Hopper. For some reason, I never fully attached to him in Stranger Things 1, but in Stranger Things 2, like, pretty much from the moment he got on screen, I was like, oh God, Hopper, I'm really excited. And I don't know where it came from. I think he's really sweet with Joy and Will and their whole family, like, trying to help that whole thing out. I think he's smart to keep 11 away. I think that maybe he didn't need to keep it so rough. And also, why is nobody trying to teach this little girl, like, basic skills? Like, she should be, like, having homework when he's off working instead of watching TV all day. And when it first popped up, the snowball, and us walking into the gym, I teared up. I was just like, oh my God, we get to see the snowball. I didn't know I needed this so much in my life, and it was so sweet. I mean, it was just, you had Steve dropping off Dustin, you had 11 and Mike kissing and dancing, you had Dustin and Max kind of hook up a little bit, even though I don't think that was needed necessarily. You have this great moment of Dustin being rejected a couple times by girls and crying in the corner, and Nancy, queen of character development, goes over and asks to dance with them and gives them some advice, saying, the girls are terrible at this age, they get smarter. And you get like these looks between her and Jonathan, which are really sweet. And you get this moment with Joy. Joyce is her name. I've been messing that up the entire time. Joyce and Hopper at the very end of the episode, which kind of leads into probably a romantic pairing down the line. And then we get the ominous turning of the upside down and seeing the mind flayer, the shadow monster, looking over the snowball dance, because all 11 did was close the portal. She didn't kill anything, and now the shadow monster knows that she exists. So is she going to be the target instead of a Will Byers, because she's a more important person to control, Or if it's Callie, if they bring her back, I have a hard time believing they won't do that. Is there other test subjects? There's so much. I'm actually going to make a video of what I want to see in Stranger Things 3. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what are your thoughts on Season 2. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I make videos Monday through Friday. Sometimes I miss a day. And hopefully I'm not missing a day this week besides Monday because my computer crashed. Anyway, bye.